Welcome to issue 4 of the Comic Station. I'm Paul Neafsey.
I'm Scott Kaitz of the Comic Station.
And again, we'll be going over the new releases, a review, and a recommendation. We have a review from last week, one of the new releases. And we have a number of new releases that have come out, as well as a few that are not issue number 1s, but we felt like we wanted to give some credit to. For the new releases this week, for January 23rd, we have, and we're going to kick off with, the Young Avengers number 1 from Marvel. In this one, it's titled Style Over Substance. Very suitable title for teenager Young Avengers. In most of these, I'm seeing a lot of more in the first issue, a relationship building, and in some cases, their teen situations that they're being put in is a lot like adult situations that you'd be getting in, but with a little more angst. So that goes in well. The artwork is very nice, beautiful, nice details. Some pop more than others, but off to a very nice start on this one. And you know, they're trying to do good, and you can see it. And they're all trying to find their place, whether they can be an Avenger or what they're trying to do with their powers and getting used to it. And they're trying to do good, and in this issue at least it ends, maybe that wasn't the best idea for some of them. But I like it. It's off to a nice start. And a nice little special little note, they open it up and then have the inside cover. There's a little musical note about what the music was and who played it and who the artist was. Nice little note as far as, like, that's a nice little added thing in there.
Well, I will say this. The original Young Avengers was fantastic. So hopefully this one follows suit. I haven't had a chance to read it like you did, but I have high hopes for it because I really enjoyed the original. It was a 12-issue run, probably about, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have one that's a little crazy, and I like it for it. This is Deadpool Illustrated, number 1. This is Deadpool butchering the stories from literature's finest authors. In this Deadpool Illustrated, it is a direct follow-up to Deadpool Kills the Multiverse, and he discovers, or when he has enlisted the help of some villains. And they have hypothesized that by killing some of the classicals, the inspiration for the progenitors wouldn't be there to create more heroes and then stop the never-ending cycle of heroes being born and reborn and remade and re-entered. He's basically looking for a way to finally die. This one is interesting. I like it. It goes back into classical. The artwork does a little bit of changes when he goes into the classical artwork. You can tell there's obviously still the same artist is doing everything, but the color palette changes a little bit. Nice little hit. Maybe could have gone a little further with that, but I like it. It's subtle. So it works out, and it's interesting. I mean, at the end though, nobody really trusts each other, and it's Deadpool. He's gonna kill everybody, so the villains aren't safe, and they know it, and they try doing something about it, which makes it very interesting. There is a character from classical literature that shows up on the last few pages that makes me really looking forward to where this is going. I've always liked Deadpool as far as just killing, and it's interesting, it's funny, sense of humor, and in this case, the classicals open up a different world.
I think it's a perfect avenue to bring Deadpool in.
He's killed everyone else.
Yeah, and as a character, sometimes I think they for me, they take him maybe a step too far with the comedic angle of it. But I think this is one of the perfect vehicles for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to kill more, right? The next one we have is the Uncanny XForce #1. In this issue, it is taking off. It is apparent in the first issue. I'm gonna, full disclosure, haven't read the previous X Forces, so but it is quite apparent that the X Force has disbanded. Your Psylocke, Betsy Baddock, is trying to just, she's looking for revenge basically. So it's interesting there, and then you got a little cameos of other characters, Wolverine and some of the other X-Force characters makes a cameo, but they've all kind of moved on. The artwork and the plot is very gritty, but that fits in perfectly with Psylocke's personality. She's very, I'm gonna attack and just going out for blood. So there's interesting makeup, and if they are going to introduce a new X-Force, so far the characters they've introduced diverse, and I really like it. If they make a new X-Force out of these characters, so far I'm happy. I'm looking forward to more.
Well, I'm like you. I haven't read. I didn't read the previous X-Force. I read the ones back from the 90s. X-Force has been throughout the grittiest of the X-Men titles. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I have not read this particular issue yet. Looking forward to it. And hopefully for me, it'll bring me back into the X-Men. I've gotten a little away from them. It's been too all over the place with everything that's been going on. So I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, and we have, in addition to some of the new releases, we have two of them that I personally wanted to bring out and do a little highlight about. If you're familiar, for fronttowardsgamer.com, we do a lot of video games, and there are video game tie-ins. This one so far, I really like this, the video games, I like the series, so I'm interested to see where this goes, and this is Borderlands Origins #3, Mordecai. The first one we followed Axton, the second one was Lilith, Mordecai's now, and obviously Brick is later. As the title can tell you, it's the origin stories, where they're coming from and what brought them onto Pandora as far as being the Vault Hunters. In this one, it is interesting. All of them have been funny, some a little bit more funny than others, but this one is very nice. It follows the same pattern. You get introduced, they have a little problem, and they go forward. And you find out tie-ins to other characters. In the previous ones, you saw a little bit of Marcus and Scooter. Actually, this one's the first one with Scooter in it, I believe. Marcus was in the previous one, with, especially with Lilith. So you're seeing a little bit more tying in. And next, I'm looking forward to seeing Brick. And honestly, I hope there's a fifth one where you see them all get together and something from there. I'm not expecting this to be a continuing series, because once you hit a certain point, it becomes the player's story. But I'm interested to see, you get the origins here, I want to see if they ever meet before the game starts. So that's why I like it, and I think the artwork's very nice. It's not going to win any awards or anything, but if you like the Borderlands series, it adds enough to it. Nice little story beforehand. The next one, as we mentioned earlier with Deadpool, this one is Deadpool from Marvel Now. This is issue #4. If you're not familiar with the story, I suggest you go back. Basically, the overall story is dead presidents are back. They're not happy. Maybe a spell gone wrong, bringing them back, trying to save the United States, and they decide the best way to save the United States is to start over, destroy it. And in this case, because of the sensitive nature, they don't want any Avengers actually fighting a president and that getting on the news. They enlist Deadpool to go about his killing ways off the books. So, as you can imagine, it's hilarious, it's crass, it's a lot of just so many bullets flying. They are dead presidents, so they don't quite die as easily. That gives a lot of freedom to Deadpool to go all out and creative new ways. Last issue, he got a little help from a sorcerer, and this one he finally gets a weapon that can potentially kill him. Whether or not he holds on to that weapon for very long is another story. I like it. It's a lot of fun. It's just mindless fun. It's just what Deadpool's good at.
Yep,
So,
endless violence.
obviously, this takes you out of the overall story. There's so many different Deadpool stories going on side to side, but I think he's a character that, you know, you don't have to really have continuity with Deadpool. He's so self-aware that he's in this story, and obviously in this one he's talking to you as the reader, and there's a few times where the other characters are going, who's he talking to? I think that fits in perfectly. He doesn't need to make sense. You just need to point him in a direction and let him go loose.
It's always a good cover when you have Deadpool sitting there taking out President Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, he's looks like here he got a good in left hook here, so doesn't hurt. So, all right, we're next gonna have the reviews and the recommendations. All right, for our issue number 4, our review is actually a comic that came out last week, but I wanted to review it and bring you some more insight because it was one of my favorite characters. And if you can tell, if you saw the last issue, that would mean it was Savage Wolverine number 1. In this case, it's going back to the classics as far as not just the yellow spandex uniform, but a lot of the same attitude and everything we love about Wolverine. And let me say that being a kid of the 80s and early 90s, I could not be happier as far as going back and bringing back what to me is the classic Wolverine. Especially with the television series. Really like that. I mean, it goes forward. It does a lot of action. In one issue, it actually gets a lot through. There's plenty of mystery. They're not going to get too much into that yet because their characters are finding it out themselves. Needless to say that, obviously, Savage Wolverine, they are in the Savage Land. This is the perfect location for Wolverine because where else he can be as animalistic as he wants to be because he needs to be like that. In one case, in my review, my favorite picture of the week was where else could Wolverine fight a velociraptor? I mean, sums it up right there.
It's beautiful.
And artwork is very nice. It's beautiful, well done. My only drawback to the artwork was compared to Wolverine Max, I was a little disappointed they didn't really break out of the box too much with the artwork. It was a little standard. Nothing bad. It was very beautiful. I really liked it. But there was nothing that pushed the boundaries any further. I think the story was going well. The characters were well driven. Wolverine, you just need them to be crass and angry. So and that was working out well. And you saw some shield units, and I was actually happy that when I first saw the shield, I was a little worried, and the ranks thinned pretty quickly, so it did not become a shield book, and I'm happy about that. I want it to be Wolverine and his story, so it's off to a good start. If you like Wolverine and he's one of your favorite characters, or you just like him, I would recommend reading this and picking it up. If he is just a side character and you like the Avengers first, and you like him but you're not quite sure, you might want to go in, try it out first, or maybe wait until a few more issues in until you can find out where they're going with it. Nothing made it a you have to go out there and buy it, but if you're a fan, then I think it hits enough points that a fan of Wolverine will be happy with it. As such, our final review was a 7 out of 10, which is good. Nothing down, perfectly good, just nothing that really wowed me. So, but as a fan of Wolverine, I liked it. But I'm a fan. I can't give everything a 10 just because it has Wolverine on it. So, alright, and that's my review. So, Scott has a recommendation for you.
Well, going a little off the beaten track, go away from DC and Marvel for a little bit. What I'd like to bring to you people today is a company called Big Dog Inc. Small publisher, doing a lot of really quality work. One of my favorites right now is The Legend of Oz, The Wicked West. It's a take on The Wizard of Oz, set to a Western theme. All of your characters are there, a little bit different than what you might be used to. But it's a well-crafted story. I like all of the characters so far. They've done a really good job, brought in other characters that obviously aren't in the Wizard of Oz story that we all know. I think you'll find the quality of the printing is fantastic. It's on thick stock. The color saturation is magnificent. Everything really jumps out at you. I really don't see a bad thing about this comic. I've enjoyed it. This is the second volume of it. The first volume came out last year, and it's just been a fantastic read. I look forward to reading this one more than most. And being in a comic book shop, trust me, I read a lot of books. So I think everybody should get on the bandwagon and check out Big Dog Inc. They do other titles, but this one in particular, The Legend of Oz: The Wicked West, is very, very good. So give it a try. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, I've actually been impressed with Big Dog Inc. It's, like I said it before, I like the stock, very thick. It's not going to crease very well. It's beautiful stock. A little plastic feel to it, but very nice. And I think that overweighs it versus the plastic feel to me. And I know you talked about this before to me in just regular conversations, so definitely you've talked it up enough. I'm interested in it.
It's just anymore. I look for stories, even if it's a story that we all know. Give me a different twist on it, something a little bit different, and as long as the artwork is good, then I'm happy. I get, after reading superhero after superhero after superhero, it gets to a point of give me anything different, and this fills a need for me, and I think you'll find too that all the other titles that they do, same quality as far as the book that you receive. It's all on the thick stock. The artwork is good and strong. So check them out, Big Dog Inc.
All right. That was issue 4 of Comic Station. My name is Paul Neafsey.
I'm Scott Kaitz.
If you would like to find more, I post my reviews and other information on frontwardsgamer.com, and you can find on the exit we'll have the site, website, and my Twitter and everything. You're welcome to message me anytime you want. Any recommendations, like to hear some comments back, any improvements that you'd like to see in this video, or any series for comic books that you'd like to see highlighted or reviewed on here. Alright, thank you very much, and hope to see you more, and hope that you see us more. Alright, thank you very much.